Good afternoon, each and every one. Good afternoon, Richmond Media viewers and listeners. We want to welcome each and everyone for your time, your energy, your support, everything in coming to this section. We want to welcome you specially for this afternoon, two health issues. Today is another brightest day that the good Lord has given to us. And today too, we want to join together so that we can all reason together by studying something about our health. And this afternoon's topic for discussion is how to reverse obesity. How to reverse obesity. By God's grace, we have seen that currently most conditions or many conditions that are visiting various hospitals, various facilities with chronic conditions being tagged on. One of the hidden cause is obesity. And as one of our viewers responded or sent us the topic that he would like us to explain or go into detail once again on how to reverse obesity. And that's why we are here this afternoon. Mr. George Owusu-Bekwin, good afternoon, and we thank you for always having time for us. Now we want to move straight to our topic as discussion. When we talk about obesity, first, before we know about obesity, we need to know how the body works. With the overview of obesity, we want to talk about God has designed this human body in a way that when food enters the mouth, by God's grace, you realize that it will digest. After digestion, we need to use that energy. But a situation where there is an imbalance between whatever you have taken in and how you spend it, then it will lead to what we call obesity. So with the overview of obesity, according to the World Health Organization in March 2013, says that it's abnormal or excessive fat accumulation that may impair your health. So it's abnormal or excessive fat accumulation that can impair your health. So anytime an individual, you know yourself, but getting to a point, you realize that you are gaining excess fat, that is causing a trigger to your health, then we need to tell you that you are developing what you call obesity, or you are entering into the obese zone. American Medical Association has officially now labeled obesity as a disease. So at first, we were giving a name like rich man, oh, you are rich, and that. But currently, we are ascertaining some causes that emanate from obesity. And now it has become part of the disease that we mostly mention or diagnose. So we need to be patient so that we can go deeper into the lesson. And by God's grace, we can be able to reverse obesity. Overweight and obesity are the fifth leading risk for global death, meaning that when you take most causes of deaths globally by ranking overweight and obesity as another underlying cause for some deaths, comes into the first 10 and now is the fifth leading cause that we need to also take note. Now, with the current trend of obesity, we have known that anywhere you go now, WHO, that's World Health Organization, and many scholars are now saying that when you compare from the 90s to this time, this our era, obesity is increasing, and sadly, children are getting the energetic people are being obese, and at the end, it's retarding the progress of the economic status within families, within nations, and within every institution. Therefore, we need to talk about it because the harmful effect that is emanating as a result of just obesity, we can never talk about it. Now, symptoms of obesity, meaning that when what individual passes through when he develops into obesity, What are some of the things that the individual might be exhibiting? Number one is that breathlessness, difficulty in breathing. You realize that at first you were not obese, but now you are gaining excess weight. Now, as you are gaining excess weight, you realize that when you walk for a short while, you find it difficulty in breathing. Then also it increases sweat. When you compare the slim to those who are obese, most of the obese, when they sleep and you are by them, they snore a lot. Another aspect too is that they have difficulty in sleeping, difficulty or sleep disturbances with the obese people. Then inability to cope with sudden physical activity. Any little physical activity, you realize that they are not able to cope as compared to someone who has not developed into such stage. Then they mostly feel tired, very tired every day. They mostly feel very tired, easy fatigability. Little thing, they are complaining of tiredness. Then because of the weight they are gaining, they mostly also complains of back pains, joint pains, and the other body pains. So we need to be mindful of that. When I'm gaining weight, reaching to the obesity, and I'm not taking conscious effort about it, what are some of the risk factors? Some of the risk I'm involving myself into. You realize that individuals who are obese or leading to trolling to the line of obesity, you are at risk of developing diabetes, especially the type 2 diabetes. The next thing is heart-related diseases. Heart diseases. The next aspect is hypertension or high blood pressure. The next one is cancer. Cancer of many sorts, cancers that you can mention of. Then sleep apnea, meaning that absence of sleeping or difficulty in sleeping. Then GERD. When we talk about GERD, means that the gastroesophageal reflux diseases. An individual who mostly suffer from this type of condition mostly complains of chest pains or heartburns. That's how they mostly also present it. These are some of the risk factors that is being associated, conditions that is being associated with obesity that we are studying this afternoon. Now, overweight and obesity leads to adverse metabolic effects on blood pressure, cholesterol, triglyceride, mean the fatty in the blood, and how the cholesterol needs to be regulated. When you are being obese or you are at the verge of obesity, overweight into obesity, it can affect how even food even digests within your body. Insulin resistance, how insulin needs to be controlled within the body, then you are at greater risk, as we have mentioned, about heart diseases. At the same time, ischemic stroke. With the ischemic stroke means that something is blocking the blood vessels that supply blood to the brain. And when those cells are not able to get enough oxygenated blood, it begins to die off. And when it is emanating from such cause, then we will diagnose you as ischemic stroke. And we need to also note that. What are some of the effects of obesity on our general health aside the ones we have mentioned? When it comes to cancers, it has been shown that by the National Cancer Institute that some of the cancers that are being linked with obesity is the cancer of the esophagus, that's the windpipe, the cancer of the esophagus, the pancreas. You can get cancer of the pancreas. You can get cancer of the rectum or the colon, cancer of the colon and the rectum. You can get prostate cancer. Then also, it's been linked with breast cancer, especially most people that get the breast cancer after menopause. Then you can get cancer that affects the endometrium. When we talk about endometrium, means that the inner lining of your uterus. Then you can get cancer that's being linked with kidney and gallbladder. Then you can get cancer of the thyroid gland. And the thyroid gland also, when it comes into play, then you know that these are some of the cancers that if I'm developing excess fat and leading to obesity, I'm likely to experience. So we need to also be mindful. When it comes to psychological problems, with psychological problems, you know, when you are obese, most people have low self-esteem. With low self-esteem means that even when they are gathering, there's gathering, because of my weight alone, when I began to enter, how people will be calling names and rest, you realize that I'm always a withdrawn type. You have also socially and psychologically low confidence level. Most people are also depressed because some places, the way people will tease you just because of your weight, it also leads to this kind of psychological problem, that's the depression. So we need to also note that. When we talk about obesity, we can take obesity into two forms, in which we can say that we have the peripheral obesity. With the peripheral obesity means that an individual have excess fat in the buttocks, the thighs, and the hips. Then we have the central obesity. The central obesity is accumulation of fat in the abdominal area. So such individual, you realize that he's gaining weight, but much of the excess fat is accumulated in the abdominal cavity. And that is also a type of obesity. Then we have the third class of individuals with obesity who have both peripheral obesity and central obesity combined. So the peripheries are being accumulated with excess fat. At the same time, the central, which is the abdominal cavity, so pot belly, everywhere there is fat, you realize that the individual has increased weight. So therefore, as Richmond media viewers and listeners, how can we know our ideal weight, and what are some of the things that we can do to check to see if we are gaining weight or losing weight? The first thing is what we call the body mass index. With the body mass index, that is where we will check your weight, then your height, then comparing to your sex and your age. Per the calculation it will give us, will help us to rank you. That is the body mass index. Your weight, your height, your sex, your age will help us. The figure will help us to grade you. Either you are underweight, you have a healthy or normal weight, or you are overweight or obese. So that is the first thing that we need to do. And this one, you can visit anywhere to do that by checking your weight, your height, and we will do for you. Then also, we have what we call the waist circumference. With the waist circumference, that is where an individual will measure your waist. Depending on your sex, will determine the number that you need not to get over, or depending on the inches or the centimeters. So assuming you are a woman, we check and it's like you are 88 centimeters or greater than 35 inches. It means that you are at risk of gaining weight or obese. Then also a male, you also have your measurement there. So aside the BMI, you can also do waist circumference. That's another thing. Another aspect too is visceral fat. That is the fat that accommodates or accumulates just at the visceral space. So as you are seeing the picture here, you see aside the skin that covers the abdomen, afterwards the covering is what we are terming as the viscera. And the fat that accumulates can lead to the protruded abdomen and those things. So we need to also be checking those things. And it's also very important, as you are seeing. Another aspect is your shape. Your shape can also help determine Either you are gaining weight or you are losing weight, or you are gaining excess fat. So as you see on the screen here, like a female, you realize that it needs to be like apple shape. The most of the weight you need to bear at your waist area. But when a moment that your excess fat accumulates on your abdomen, then your abdomen is rather gaining excess weight, then just based on your shape, it's giving you a clue that no, I'm gaining excess fat. And if I'm not careful, it will be linked to the conditions that we have mentioned. Then also we have what we call the waist and hip circumference. With the waist and hip circumference, this is where an individual will just visit any seamstress, or you take your tape measure. We will measure your waist, then we record. Then we measure your hips, then we record. Then we divide the waist by the hip. The figure that we will get will give us a clue that you are at the verge of developing this obesity or excess fat, which can prone you to heart condition. So these are some of the things that can help you to know that either you are gaining or you are maintaining. And aside this one, you can also visit the lab center that they check your cholesterol level, that's the lipid profile. And with the lipid profile will help us to be able to know the amount of fat within your blood, either it's increasing or it's reducing. Then any of them will help us to determine. Now, after knowing this, we want to know then what are some of the things that can make me obese. So the causes of obesity. So with the causes of obesity, number one that I will talk about is lack of sleep or inadequate sleep. Currently, in our days, most people are taking advantage because of the night bundles, because of the night programs, activities that individuals will go. Most people do that in the expense of their sleep. And individuals who always don't have a quality sleep, you are prone to developing obesity. Individuals who have sleep problems, or who are not able to sleep well, or they are able to sleep, but because of their activities or internet, social media things, they are not able to have time to sleep. Whenever you do that, it affects a hormone that regulates your appetite. And that's when that happens, it will help you to be more or to overeat the next day. So individuals, if you have assessed ourselves, you realize that anytime or most times that you don't have quality sleep, you mostly feel hungry the next day, the next morning. And by so doing, it's prone most people to overeat. And if that becomes your habit, then you are just triggering or being at the verge of developing obesity because of that wrongful lifestyle. Number two is what we call the leptin resistance. Leptin resistance. Leptin is the hormone that releases fat cells in your body. So leptin releases fat cells in your body, and it has a hormone that regulates when to feel that you are full and when to feel you are hungry. But individuals who are having leptin resistance, they don't feel that they are full, so they overeat. And those also having impaired regulation of this leptin within your system, you also becomes hungry after a few minutes. Hungry, so it will prone you to eat more. And as you are eating more, then you are eating more with less activity, you are prone of obesity. And studies have shown that the production of both leptin and ghrelin is another hormone. The two comes together to, one, tells your system that you are full, so stop eating. Number two, tells your system that you are hungry, so go and eat. So when there is an imbalance between leptin and ghrelin, then it means you eat when even you are full. Then when that happens, you are prone to obesity. And after the studies, it's shown that it may be influenced by how much or how little you sleep. So individuals who lack or who don't sleep, you are at prone of these things. So we need to be mindful. The next one is overeating. Overeating. We overeat with less activity and can also lead to obesity. Fat cells metabolism. Fat cell metabolism. You know, a fat cell is capable of storing so much fat, and it can also expand to about 1,000 times its initial volume. So whenever fat cells, which is being to be able to hold, or to be the cell that's able to metabolize the fat within your system, per our activities, we consume a lot of these things that we very soon will be mentioning about, and wrongful lifestyle, it affects the fat cells metabolism, and it will rather accumulate within your system, and you can develop what we call obesity. Lack of sunlight. Most individuals now don't expose ourselves to the sunlight because of indoors. More indoors, less outdoors. Less sunlight, but more in a darker rate, prone us to overweight, because there's a lot of benefit with this sunlight, and that can help even burn a lot of fat within our system. So individuals who lack the exposure of sunlight are also prone to obesity. Then certain medications. Some individuals are sick, but they'll go to a pharmacy or some prescribed medications that they will give to an individual. Some has the ability or the link to cause obesity, like the antidepressants, those having depression, the drugs that they give, some of them like the anti-seizures, those having seizure, the drugs that we give, like some of the diabetic drugs, and some psychotic drugs. Individuals who are suffering from mental related conditions, some drugs that they give to them, like some of the BP drugs, like the beta blockers. Some of these drugs have been linked to cause or to predispose an individual to obesity, because some of the drugs can make you drowsy. You sleep, you wake up, you eat, you sleep, you wake up. So less activity, more of eating. And when that occurs, then it means an individual is building excess fat. And when there is accumulation of excess fat in the body, that's what we term as obesity. Then genetics. We have some individuals, their families, they are fat already. But note that families can't change the genes that they have inherited from the other parent. But we can encourage families on how to adapt certain lifestyle activities, physical activities, and how to adapt to a healthy eating habit. And that will help you, even who is prone to obese family, to be able to have a healthy weight. Inactivity. Individuals who are inactive a lot, eating lot of sitting, eating lot of inactive activities can predispose you to obesity. So we need to also note that is also a cause. Unhealthy diet and unhealthy eating, some wrongful combinations, some junk foods like processed foods, some wrongful combination, eating cooked meals while taking drinks together at the same time, can also impair or affect digestion. And when that occurs, you are prone to get this condition. Pregnant woman also is at risk of gaining weight, but if you are not careful to handle it well, that's why most people will give birth. Then after that, they continue to gain weight, because when you are pregnant, less activity, more of eating. And when they give birth to, if you are not lucky and you don't take care of yourself well, you realize that you'll be less activity, but more of eating. Then the increased weight will continue. Then you will have what we call the obesity. Then developmental factors. Developmental factors here means that as from childhood growing, you realize that comparing breastfeeding children to bottle feeding children, you realize bottle feeding children are at risk of excessive weight gain than the breastfeeding children. So we need to also be mindful, especially the breastfeeding mothers, on how and what to be given to our children. Then medical problems. Some individuals are obese because of medical condition, like too little or too high hormonal imbalances within your system, like the estrogen, testosterone, thyroid function. When it's being impaired, you are at risk of getting obesity, and that can affect your weight gain. So we need to be mindful of those things. Beloved, another cause is artificial sweetness. Artificial sweetness, which means anything that will give sweet to the food that we are eating or the drink we are taking, but not from the natural state, can also contribute to weight gain. So we need to be mindful of it, like the refined sugar, like the aspartame. Those ones are some of the ingredients found in most of the carbonated drinks, and we need to also check out. So artificial sweetness is being also linked to those things. So beloved, as we are trying to note the causes, we need to look at how to also go about it. So how can one reverse obesity? So you realize that if my obesity is as a result of inactivity, the second individual, who is you, my viewer, your obesity might be linked to, let's say, a medical condition. Then our listeners, their obesity might be linked to some medications they are taking. Therefore, when it comes to reversing of obesity, you need to ascertain the cause. What is the cause of my weight gain? Is it because of inactivity or not able to sleep? Then the causes that we have mentioned, you just take whatever or wherever you find short or you fall short, then you change it. By changing it and adapting to some of the things that we are about to suggest, by God's grace, it will help you to be able to reverse your obesity. Don't go on a diet alone. So we have some people who, whenever they began gaining weight, then they are saying, I'm going on dieting. So they are being on a raw diet. Then when they lose weight, they go back. But beloved, for a healthy reversion of obesity, it goes beyond just diet. So you need to, as one, change your eating habit. That's the first one. Then two, change your lifestyle permanently. So it's not about 10 days dieting, then you come back to the errors. You continue to gain weight. So as you are checking about your food, then you look at the lifestyle changes as well. Number one, I will encourage whenever you want to reverse obesity is that don't skip breakfast. Don't skip breakfast. Most individuals keep skipping breakfast. Then at the end, in the afternoon, they now take heavy meal. Then late in the evening, they continue. But I will encourage and suggest to our dear viewers and listeners that if you want to healthy or health-wise reverse obesity, don't skip breakfast. And in the breakfast morning section, you eat very well, very full, then embark on your activity. That's one of the important things that you need to take note. Number two, the use of natural sweetness. That's what I will encourage, like honey, like dates, like the black strap molasses, like the banana, like the watermelon. The sugary fruit out there can also be added to your meal as a sweetener. That's the next thing that I will encourage and recommend to our viewers and our listeners. Number three is that anything that affecting the thyroid function, because we have known that one of the causes is about dysfunction of the thyroid, and one remedy is about the increase of iodine. And you can get best iodine from the sea salt, then also the Himalayan salt, that's the pink salt, also very good and has is rich also in minerals that will help also with your thyroid. So we need to also note that individuals who want to reverse their weight should also pay much attention to their water intake. Drink sufficient water. When we talk about drinking of 16 ounces, 16 ounces here means like one pure water. One pure water, which is 500 mils, is also good. By this, we want to encourage, like, early morning when you wake up, you just heat your water or boil your water, warm it, then you add 1 lemon to it. Then in that case, you use a straw to drink that water so that you will be able to feel. Most people, when they take it by mouth in a cup like that, they find some sensitivity reactions with their teeth and co. But recommendably, use straw to take that lemon water, and it will help you as well. Then you need to avoid artificial sweetness that we have talked about, and artificial or junk related drinks. You need to make sure that if you are someone who is in love with drinks, your children like drinks, let's be mindful and know how to be preparing a healthy drinks, and avoid simple refined sugars that can also contribute to weight gain. Then frying of foods or frying of stews. We cooked stew, but we don't fry stews. Advisably, I will recommend that we boil and or bake most of the things that we want to take, like the potatoes, like the yam, and the other things that you want to, you are thinking of frying. I will encourage, like, we boil more or bake more before thinking of frying, because too much frying of foods, either the stews and the other food, can affect the condition we are talking about, obesity. So when you refrain from this, it will help you a lot. Then also eating at set times, not eating because others are eating. So your friend is our viewer, so because our viewer is eating, you also go and eat. Then your other friend is our listeners, so because they are also eating, then you are also joining to eat. Your husband comes home, because he's eating, you also join. No, let's be eating at specified times. So we encourage that after your first cooked meal, the next cooked meal that you can consume should be after 5 hours. After 5 hours, so that the body will be able to work on the first meal within the 4 hours interval, rest, and you take the next meal, and that will help you a lot. But individuals who want to lose weight, but meat pie is passing by, you buy bread, you buy, we don't eat per time or per schedule, will affect your results that you want. That explains why most individuals have been on diet for months, for years, and they are now fed up. Don't give up, because there are some harmful conditions that await you if you continue to gain weight. But rather, let's begin to eat per schedule. And also, eating while drinking water at the same time is not recommended. We need to resist from such activity so that we can get good health. And late eating, especially to sleep or to bed, you just eat, then few minutes you are sleeping. Either afternoon, morning, evening is not advisable. Eating immediately to sleep, not advisable. Then also in the night, if you are not a night worker, eating late is also not advisable. Then I will recommend that we do what we call digestive work. With digestive work, this is where you have eaten your good food. Then after 15 to 30 minutes, you take a casual walk or a normal walk. And this walk is different from the walking you are doing for exercise that we call the brisk walking. So you need to be mindful with that digestive walk. That's why some time ago you realize that individuals who are living in a particular compound, when the person finished eating, he said, "Oh, I'm just taking a walk to this neighbor's house, I'll come back." That is what we term as digestive walk. So we need to be mindful of it. Then also have quality sleep. Anything that you are thinking is affecting the quality of your sleep, let's begin to have a renewal of mind. if it's about television, if it's about night programs that you can even do the next day or watch the next day, just when your time is up, turn those things off, have your quality sleep. The next day, you come and continue with watching such uh, items, movies, or programs. So let nothing take off your sleep. So we need to be mindful of that too. Then watch your posture as well. You know, inactivity and office work will let you sit more. And the more you sit, it means the more inactive you become. But we can develop some strategies or some tactics. If I'm office worker, when I'm working, as I'm working, then I sit to type, then I stand a while. Then you sit to do your office writings, then you walk to the next office a while. Let's begin to be adding some activity within our work, and that will also help us a lot. Another recommendation is what we call turmeric. As you are changing your lifestyle, then you can be adding some natural things also to it, like turmeric. Turmeric also has been shown to help reduce inflammation, and it also have a significant improvement on obesity. So we need to also, we can take it as a tea. Either you make it in a powder form as you are seeing on the screen, or you crush it and add it to a boiling water. Then you strain and take as your morning tea. That also helps you to be able to reverse your weight. Dandelion. Dandelion, we have the wild dandelion, then we have just the normal dandelion. Any of the dandelion that you come across with, by taking it as a tea, by taking it as a salad, or by cooking with it as a special meal, also has been proven to help in reversing of obesity or in weight loss. So we need to also be mindful of that. Then we have talked about the morning cleanse, as you are taking the water with a lemon. That's also important. Beloved, then you get time, expose yourself to the sunlight so that the UV rays will help you and I to be able to regulate the excess fat that can trigger or that can predispose us to this obesity that we are talking about. And when we are able to follow this and refraining from the causes we have mentioned, by God's grace, we can be able to successfully reverse obesity. Then also check your blood pressure, check your blood sugar, check your cholesterol level once a while, like twice a year or once a year. Do a full screening, full checkup, so that you can be able to know your health status, your cholesterol status, the overall health status, and it will help you when you are gaining weight. You will not link you who is having a kidney problem that is helping you to accommodate excess fluid and you are gaining weight, to me who is by some chance inactive and I'm gaining weight. And when it comes to it reversing, don't think because Kofi did food or dieting, it has improved, so you are also going to take that same procedure. No, you might not know the history that went on within Kofi and his prescriber. So whenever you want to embark on a healthy reversing of obesity, you need to know these parameters, consult your prescribers or your healthcare provider, then he can guide you correctly and you can get a healthy reversing of obesity. May the good Lord help us, continue to be with us. And as we have started this year as well, those who are obese, those who are gaining excess weight, we can be able to reverse our obesity and have good health, for us to be able to watch Richmond Media Health Issues every Sunday and listen to us every Sunday. So on this note, we will end today's topic on how to reverse obesity. God has provided a remedy for every disease, because now obesity is being linked with a disease that might afflict us. Satan cannot afflict us with any disease for which God has not provided a remedy. Our Creator foresaw the wretched condition of mankind in these days, and he planned for us. So, beloved, we will end here. Have hope, never be discouraged, and your condition can be reversed. So until then, same time next week on health issues. My name is George Ackon. Thank you.
Mi wo jide,